All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brad McLogan, and this is Open Live Q&A, week number 111. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me in this evening. I actually just got in the door, so I do apologize. I'm a little bit late here, and I literally just had to reset my computer and get everything going, and I was like, boom. So I do not have any of my questions or anything prepared, but I will get into some math content for you guys a little bit later. I will be kind of keeping updated with the big game, the Super Bowl, and kind of watching and checking the score in on for that. And then, but anyways, I just definitely wanted to also always go live on my Sunday night because this is 111 weeks straight with you guys. So I do appreciate those of you that have joined me before or seen a live stream before. And if this is your first live stream, well, then welcome. And just so you guys know that you can always post questions inside the chat, and I'll try to get to those as much as I can. But if you have any math questions, then please go ahead and go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And that's going to be the best place for you to submit the math questions. And I'll try to get to those as well. So hello, Jello Javier. Arab, good to have you on. Is that showing up? There we go. All right, cool. And Knights Auntie, I just came out to say that you only live like 3 miles down the road from me. Well, that's weird. And I realized this for years after I began to watch your videos, help me in college math. Well, awesome. So happy to be able to help you out. How did you get your hairstyle this good? Well, I don't know. It didn't take long, I guess you can say. Then pretty sure just started, once it started to like elbow like that, I was like, all right, I'm done. No, but I've seen a lot of the comments on YouTube about me being Brian or Johnny Sin. So definitely, I guess I'll take it. I appreciate it. And hello, Spicy Tomato and Synergenic. Jacob, good to have you on. Damn through rough comment. Yeah, I mean, for the American audience, I'm assuming, Super Bowls and stuff like that going on. So definitely can understand. But, the cool thing about this live stream, or at least going on YouTube, is this is an international audience and not everybody is all excited about football and everything like that. So I always appreciate you guys always hopping in, from you guys on the anything for the live stream, just say hi, or if you have any math questions, which again I will get to, or if you're actually interested of learning about some of the high school things that I wanted to mention to you guys coming up. Got a math quiz. Well, yeah, see, right after, there you go. You still got quizzes, still got stuff to go. So if you have any questions, let me know. Chess Concepts. I've noticed that a lot of people are not familiar with data management, which is a branch of mathematics. Yes. I put at this disadvantage for taking a course that is not widely recognized. No, I think data management, I think a lot of that is going to be increased in coming years. So I think that's a good idea that you are getting started with that. I don't think you're going to be at a disadvantage from there. And OCG, hello. Chess Concepts, you got this. Best of luck. See, yeah, there you go. All over country. For me, it is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, I know it's a different time for a lot of people all over the world. Yeah, I know. I was like, I could watch the Super Bowl and then do my live stream tomorrow. But then I'm like, you know what? I just like to stay consistent. I think in the last 2 years, I've only missed 2 Sundays that I didn't go live. And then when I did miss those 2 Sundays, I went live on Monday, the next day. So I just try to be as consistent as I possibly can. I do know some people have pictures and stuff like that. And yes, that is my legit picture from me. And it's actually, if you guys want to know the truth, it's actually from me in 8th grade. From on there. So it's actually an 8th grade picture, but it was at the end of 8th grade. So it's kind of like getting into freshman year. So I thought it was pretty close enough that I had another similar picture that was from senior year, but it just didn't have the same effect as that one. That one's, I had much longer hair and, I just tried to, I think it was a better recollection of like going back in time. Well, awesome. Ooh, a lot going there. I only watch shows and stuff from the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's I think the Super Bowl. It's as far as I played football. Growing up, I enjoyed football. I love watching football. But yeah, I think sometimes just the one thing I've always gotten in trouble with football, or like I've recently haven't really enjoyed as much. It's just like the amount of commercials, how long a game takes to watch. Like that's why I really enjoyed like playing and watching rugby, and like hockey or soccer. Like it's just much more fluid. There's not as much stoppage, and that's the one thing I've really just had a problem with. And obviously the Super Bowl is huge on that because they pay so much money for commercials, which are obviously their own entertainment themselves. But they take something that's a fun game to watch, like with the action, and they just spread it out for so long. So that's some of my issues on for there. Well, hello, Con. And why is tangent, cosecant, secant, and graphed weirdly? Well, they're not so much graphed weirdly. You got to understand the relationships between them and the unit circle. So I definitely check out some of the videos, like so you can see that relationship, because once you understand it, I think it is very helpful to have. Well, all math problems have a lot of different steps, so it's a kind of hard question to go through. Manage your time. You just got to write it out and figure out what you want to do. And hopefully Vietnam, I don't think I've ever had anybody say that from probably, I mean, I'm sure they have, but maybe I just don't really, recognize. Well, so awesome. Have you on. I'm better grateful to watch your videos. Well, thank you so much for that. So anyways, let me kind of get into some of the things with some of my high school, because I did want to kind of bring into you guys some of those points from my high school experience, because I was making a video which I probably will be releasing in probably like a month. So if you see that video, you kind of have a little heads up on what I want to talk about. But I want to talk about like my math journey a little bit. And I just want to kind of give you guys some insights for those of you that are on this live stream. And then I'll get into your guys' questions, and then we'll go and check out the math questions you guys did submit. And again, if you want to go ahead and submit a question, I got to be able to bring this up. If you do have a question, then feel free, you guys, just go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and then you guys can definitely go ahead and submit their questions, and I'll maybe get to it tonight, but probably go to last from there. If you've not already checked out my Discord server, you can also go ahead and submit questions over there. And then there's other tutors additional to me that will answer your questions from on there. And then I will also do another giveaway for tutoring. So we'll do that for next week's, we'll do that for a free tutoring for you guys on there. Okay. And we are welcome. All right, so let me go and tell you guys a little bit of story about back in the day when I was in high school, because I want to kind of give you guys a little heads up as far as how this kind of like math journey, because a lot of people kind of get started, always ask the question like, how'd you get started like in math? Like, did you always like math? And what is, were you always good at math or whatever else? And so back on that question, like really kind of looking at that little guy that I saw in there, I was really big into sports, and sports was like my number one thing that I pretty much cared about when I was in middle school and in high school. So math and school was not my number one priority, but I was always like decently good at it, and I always put in the time, and, my parents obviously wanted me to be successful in school. So, they made sure that I was doing what I needed to be doing, but I never really had a serious issue with understanding math or with doing, having trouble with school until I got into high school. And actually, it was actually a little bit earlier in the 7th grade, when I still remember, it was actually when I first started learning algebra, that I still remember like that feeling of like, I don't know what's going on. And a lot of times when I see students, or when I was teaching them, I can really relate, it's that frustration where people feel like they're doing the problem. They know how to do it. They're skipping over steps, and you're just not understanding like what's connecting what. And that's one thing when I'm trying to teach math. One thing I always keep in mind, because I know that feeling. I know it's like you understand what's going on, but you're missing that one little piece. And because you miss that one little piece, it's really frustrating. And it kind of feels a little overwhelming, especially like, it's kind of like when everybody around you knows the joke and you just don't understand the punchline, but you just don't want to say anything because you don't understand what like exactly the punchline. You feel like it's too obvious for you to like ask what exactly is that punchline. I don't get it. And so you just kind of just be quiet and you don't say anything. And that's how kind of like math like kind of started for me. Like I was understanding things, I was doing okay with it, but there's starting to be little things that I just didn't understand. And being kind of like the athlete that I was, like math and, school was not my number one thing I was really focused on. So, I just kind of let things fester. I just kind of push it by side. I didn't really cause alarm to it. And the big thing that I want to do, let you guys know, is all of that kind of like pushing away, that not facing up to my fears and my misunderstandings for math really wasn't a big issue until I came into pre-calculus. And I don't have a I don't have an example of my report card, but I do have a video. Well, actually, maybe I'll bring up another video on that. But I do a video where you can see my report card in senior year of high school and D's all through pre-calculus. And it's not something I'm very proud of, but it also is something I am proud to show students that, I struggle with mathematics. I have a humanizing element to myself. I'm not just some math teacher that, was really good at math or, figured out how I can explain things where students would make sense. Like, everything that I've come through in my journey with math, everything that I've kind of built off of my mathematic journey came through some struggles. And a lot of those came through the struggles in high school. And what I had to do was I had to figure out a way to be successful in mathematics, because when you get all D's, you start to become ineligible for sports. And I didn't have any scholarships for college, but like I could have, gotten denied going back to, my college. And obviously my parents would not be very excited if that would have happened. So I had to figure things out. And then obviously I decided to become a math teacher, which was, probably a shock to many, especially my math teacher and probably my parents. But yeah, and that's what kind of entered into my college, where I had to like reset my whole life. But the important thing I wanted to bring to you guys is, one of the big things I always tell students, that no teacher, no grade, no assessment, no class is ever going to set to define you. And I think that's really true, because if you were to look at like a D in my pre-calculus, a lot of students would stop and get upset and they say, hey, I can't be successful in math. I'm not good at math, or I'm just not a math person. Maybe I should just do athletics. Maybe I just should, do focus on something else. Maybe I should just do construction. Right. And, that's what I was doing every single summer, that I made more job doing construction than I was being a teacher. Right. So it'd be very easy to kind of think that way. But one of the things I realized is I made it a determination of myself that I wanted to overcome that D. I wanted to overcome those struggles. I wanted to understand math. I wanted to become better at math. And I don't think that's the correct route for everybody, but it was the correct route for me. And I didn't want to let a D be defined on who I was. And that's why I became a math teacher. And it really was that struggle that I had through high school that I think helped make me become the teacher that I am, and helped make me, realize that how I want to respond or react and empathize and understand and create my lessons is to have that student like me in mind. And yeah, so I mean, my high school days, my high school journey was a big influence, because even though learning wasn't like my number one. It wasn't like I was trying to be valedictorian or anything like that, or I had a lot of pressure and stresses that I think a lot of you guys have now, just in the reality of society and education. But I had a lot of that with, the struggles with mathematics and the having to overcome that, and having to kind of putting it by its side on its back burner, and then having to deal with all of that and getting by. So there's a little tidbits. I have a couple of other kind of points that I'll bring to you guys, but that's going to be for my full length video that that'll let you guys know about. Will be coming in the next couple weeks. I don't know, I haven't even recorded it yet, but it's definitely something I want to talk to you guys, let you guys know a little bit more about. A lot of people always ask, especially on these live streams, like my story about high school or how I was in college and like my first year's teaching. So I'll have a couple of those videos that I'll have for you guys on there. All right, so now let me go and get to some of your questions, and then I got to go and check on some of the math questions you guys have from in there. I don't know why. Oh, Discord there. Maribel, this is a good question. How do you deal with stress? I think the absolute best thing you can do for dealing with stress is to make action. And I think I learned that either from Tony Robbins, or maybe it was Jim Rohn, but putting things in action, get moving, do something, make a decision and go with it. So I think the more that you kind of stay put and are contemplating decisions and not making decisions, the more that stress is going to build up. So get into action, going from there. Can you say hi to me? Well, hey, Rezi, how are you? Math is not the route for me, other than statistics, because I need that for psychology. I'm planning on becoming a psychologist, but I think still like getting B's above in my classes. Yeah, I totally think that's agreed. If, some of my videos I talk about, like, I don't think everybody needs to get A's in math. I think that's one of the biggest myths that we, I I think that's one of the biggest myths that we try to compel from students is they all have to be perfect, you know, in all of their classes. And no, we don't need everybody to be A's and perfect in mathematics, right? If you want to get B's or C's in math and, you know, focus on your psychology, like I don't think there's that big of a deal for you. Like, obviously we want you to be competent in statistics and, you know, competent in that understanding. But I think competence is a lot different than like perfection, right? And I think we don't need everybody to be a engineer and like precision in mathematics. Like we need people to understand the concepts. We need to understand, you know, and like statistics and whatever else. And like, but we need other people to be perfectionists in other areas of life and of studies and stuff like that. So I totally agree. Unfortunately, though, I do not have any tips for statistics because I did not really like statistics. And the same thing with physics. I didn't really enjoy taking physics either. So those are kind of like my two courses that I just didn't really meant with me. I like more pure mathematics. I don't really like the application. I don't really like a lot of the data kind of, you know, application with the data science, or not data science, but the statistics and stuff. So what encouraged me to start making the math tutorials was really just the fact of like just being able to record it so students could go home and like watch my videos, not like watch my videos so I could go blow up on YouTube. This was back in 2010 before, you know, you literally got like any compensation from YouTube or from ads or anything like that. Like the only reason why I wanted to make YouTube tutorials was just so students had something that they could watch later. And I also kind of had an insight that, you know, YouTube was kind of like the future, and you know there's that these videos can live on, and I think it's pretty cool. One of my goals always to be a teacher was I always wanted to, you know, say, hey, I've been teaching longer than you've been alive. I don't know why, I always just thought that was a cool statement. And it wasn't until my last year I did teach some freshmen that, yeah, like I was literally as if I had been a teacher longer than they'd been alive, and I just thought that was so cool. I always thought it'd be cool to like teaching like, hey, I taught your mom or I taught your dad. That'd be cool. But then I realized, crap, I'm really going to have to be a teacher, a really old teacher to do that, which I know there's definitely teachers. I remember when I was in high school, that was actually the case. Or like I went to school with your parent. That definitely could have happened. That didn't happen, at least as far as I know. But yeah, you know, like I always thought like that'd be really cool. Like I taught your parents, like, wow, that'd be pretty cool. But anyways, like YouTube's kind of the same thing. Like now people are like, oh my God, this video was made or before I was born. Like that's crazy. And that's really crazy. But yeah, now some of these like 2000, you know, 2010, we're getting up there, right? Some people are watching this stuff and they're like, holy crap, I wasn't even born then. So I think that's cool. Pretty much I was asking her for tips on what to do with section geometry class. I now love circles. Well, awesome. That's so cool. How would you recommend going about self-teaching everything all up to pre-calculus? Yeah, I mean, I actually did a live stream, I think, not too long ago about how to self-study, and I would definitely recommend, you know, going back and checking out like my tips that I did from that. I think there's definitely some things you can gain from there. Nope, I have not, but I know definitely some people like, I know from people that took like my pre-calculus course in AP stats, a lot of them liked it. I was just never a big stats fan, so don't have much help for you on there. Oh, awesome. I love pre-calc too. I feel like I'm obligated to get A's. I take AP honors class and it's typical to see some people are like, yeah, I mean, I totally get it. You know, the pressure's on, like it definitely is. But I just think I think we got to realize it's kind of like this. It's kind of like the athletes. Like you see these people in the Super Bowl, right? Not all these athletes played football all their life, right? They played different sports, right? We need people to be successful in other aspects of life, right? And they weren't always starters for the whole life. Like they got beat out by other people that are now very successful in some other aspect of our life. So while it's great to, you know, say this achievement of I have all A's or I'm the best at everything, like it's just not sustainable nor need that we need. We want people to be successful in certain areas of life and competent in other areas of life. So I'm not against like failing other classes or not knowing what you're doing in other classes, but I think there's something to be said about, you know, being an expert in one and being competent in another and not feeling like you have to be an expert in everything, right? Because that's just not the case. All right. I'm scared of math, but I'm becoming an engineer. that's kind of scaring me now. So I'm learning to like it. Okay. It's not as bad as I imagined. There was a stigma around it once I got past it. Yep, I agree. And I actually kind of like it. Well, good. Yes. I think I was just saying for an injury, you're definitely gonna have to be doing, some math or know a lot of math. So definitely be careful from that. And I actually stepped away from the classroom this year. So out of 14 years in the classroom, I finally stepped away this year. Just want to say thank you for helping me out in my math in high school. Well, you're very welcome. Well, thank you, Gail. Thank you for joining in my membership. I got to go ahead and keep on promoting that. And there's definitely some things that add into the membership that I'm definitely looking forward to sharing with you. So thank you so much for supporting me on my memberships. Thank you. All right. So I hope you know that many students in the Philippines are. Well, thank you so much. Yes, Philippines actually is, I think, number 2 in my channel demographics besides the United States, which is, I think pretty awesome. So I'd love to make it to the Philippines one day. I think that'd just be so cool. My wife is, I don't know, she's not as like keen on traveling that far, but I think it'd just be really cool to travel to the Philippines. And we actually, even in my high school, there was always like a good cohort of Filipino students that was in there. And yeah, I always think that'd be kind of cool. Hey, McLogan, I hope you're doing well. I started calculus 2 weeks ago. Do you have any tips? Yeah, do practice problems. Do a lot of practice. And once you start to, once you start to struggle, like make sure you're asking questions. Like ask questions. But you got to practice. Like the main thing I think with, you just said AP calculus or just calculus? Either way, calculus, it just comes like there's so many ways that you can understand a concept, but then you'll see a different problem and you're like, oh crap, I don't know how to do this problem, right? So like practice more and more problems. The more problems you can practice, the better. All right, let's see. 14 questions you guys submitted. And again, guys, these are all questions that were submitted to me on Open Live Q&A. So if you do have a question, feel free to go ahead and submit it into here. I'm not going to probably get to all of these from there, but I will try to do my best for you guys. No, I don't think that's too old at all. I think you could... I don't think there's any age limit. I mean, obviously relatively for there, but no, I don't think that's too late at all. Would you recommend me paying a lot of attention to be in math? Yes, I would definitely recommend that. No, I still need to work a lot on like understanding my math and practicing stuff. Like a lot of times, like on these live streams, I do a lot of calculus because it's been a while. Like I got to practice. Same thing with the calculus. Like you can understand how to do a concept, but then like the more examples you do, the better and easier that it go ahead and makes. Whew. I don't know. I mean, I went to a university for my college. I think it's, I mean, I think with the need of being math teachers, we need a lot at this moment. So I think every state is going to be a little different. I was thinking majoring in finance for college. I want to know if you're thinking AP Calc or AP Stats is a good choice. I think probably for my math, for my age. Well, I mean, definitely talk with your counselor. I'm not really sure what the best would be. But I think as far as in finance goes, I don't really know. Probably the calc base, I would assume, just to kind of understand more of the calculations. But maybe for the data science, I don't know. I really don't know. I would check with the guidance counselor for that. Oh, well, I got... Okay, well, I clicked it off, so I'll just click it on just to give them in there because I don't know why I did that, but that's not true, so that's why I clicked off it. Okay. Hold on a second. There you go. All right, guys. So I'm going to get some of these questions in there, and then I'll kind of populate in from there because I do have to get the questions that, again, are submitted on the brianmclogan.com/Q&A. So you guys do have a question, you get to there. I'm not going to be able to get to all these. for you guys, but I'll try to do my best, okay? What? Oh, and I missed that. Oh, it hasn't shown up yet? Oh, well, thank you so much for joining and being a member. I greatly appreciate that. ZevoTBG. When I was a senior, when I got my D's, I was in pre-calculus. I mean, I don't know how good, what you mean by how good of a math major or a math in, but as far as I know from computer science and software engineering, you need to know your math. So you're gonna be definitely taking a couple series of calculus. So yes, I would highly recommend you know your math. I would assume so, but I'm not really sure. I would definitely just speak with your counselor or your teachers would be the best luck. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think just one thing I recommend is like getting at least 2 books and then just going, you know, look at some recommendations, get 2 books, and then go from there. All right, let's go and see what questions I have from here. It's kind of annoying. There you go. Well, you're very welcome, Legend. Happy to be able to help you out. All right, so some more questions are coming in. Let's see what I can help you guys out with. Not that one. We already did. How do you use open? All right. I'm just taking some of these questions for you guys. And actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the screen so you guys can see some of these questions. And actually, you know what? Oh, come on. Let's just do one question at a time. How about that? And then at 10 o'clock, guys, we will be doing our giveaway. Again, that's going to be for a free tutoring session with myself. So if you want to enter that free tutoring session, all you guys got to do is go to last week's live stream. And that was with the how to memorize formulas. Go to last week's live stream. Go to last week's live streams and type in hashtag math help. Okay, and that is going to be for a free tutoring. So that we'll go ahead and do a giveaway, and I'll do that exactly at 10 o'clock for you guys. Okay. And Gail, thank you. I just want to thank you for your videos last year. My son was struggling with algebra, so then we explained. Well, awesome. So happy to help you out, Gail. Yes, it can definitely be hard to be a teacher. I don't think there is a lot of easy roads or easy every day about being a teacher, but I definitely it's definitely very rewarding in the same sense as well. So it's not just all pain and struggles from on there, for sure. And let me just get my 9:12 in the fourth quarter. All right. Actually, I'll probably starting in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I guess I'll probably miss the game. That's okay. All right, let's get into some math content. Not that. Okay, so the first question comes into, and again, I'll just kind of work these one by one until we get to 10 o'clock. All right. So the first question is in Algebra 2, and again, I'm just doing questions, guys, how they order that they came, okay? So how do we know to use an open or a closed circle when writing the interval notation of a function? Interval notation. Well, I would see like usually we write the interval notation of like domain and range of a function. And let me kind of put it something like this. Like if I had a graph, and let's just maybe say, so in this case, you can see like, let's just go and talk about the domain, right? So you can see here, if I went to like -3, -4, right? These are points that are on the graph, right? These are defined points, so they are included. However, as this graph continues going to the left, it's going to go to -infinity. Now, -infinity is actually not a number, so it can't actually be included. We can't say that -infinity is a part of the domain because it's actually not a number that we can include. So that's why we're going to use an open parentheses, okay? So open means it's not included. And we'll say from -infinity. Then we're going to say, all right, well, how far to the right is it going to still be included? Well, it's going to last, the furthest right I can go on this graph where it's going to be included is -2. And you guys can see at -2 is defined for the function, right? It is a dot there. So I'll say from -2. So therefore, that is why I will use the the bracket. On the right-hand side, what I want you guys to be able to see is then it starts at 2. But 2 is actually not a part of the domain, right? It's an open circle. So therefore, I'm just going to use a parentheses here. And then again, that's going to go to infinity, which will again be another open circle. So hopefully that was helpful for you on that. All right, let's get into the next question. All right. So a lot of times I always get worried. The reason why I'm checking these now, because I don't know, sometimes people still give me, yeah, like, what do you want me to do with a 3-page assignment? I'm sorry. I am not going to be able to get to a three-page assignment for my live stream. But yeah, if you have specific questions, then these are great to be able to do. Can you briefly go over U substitution? I got calc tomorrow. It's just, it's not so much I can't do U substitution. It's just the fact of like, I'm not been like refreshed and like finely tuned my explanations. And I just don't want to go through the explanation. I gotta be doing some more problems more actively before I feel comfortable, confident with my explanation to make sense and to help people with their understanding and explanations from there. So sorry, Angel, I'm not gonna be able to do that for you on that. The focus is C, distance away from the origin. So you got to find C of the formula. Okpara, how do you determine the domain and range? Ooh, another domain and range. All right. See if this is. Did I write this week number 11? No, I didn't. No, it's not week 101. This is week 111. Okay. So I'm just gonna like rapid fire these. That sounds like fun. Okay, so a couple things we know about when we're trying to find the domain and range, right? We know that x, that we cannot divide by, or we cannot divide by 0. So x cannot equal 0, right? And we also know that if we take the square root of x, then x has to be greater than or equal to 0. So these are going to be like our 2 constraints. Now, number 1, do we have any of those constraints? No, right? So, we got to do domain and range. Is that what the student asked? Come on, did they ask for domain and range? All right, maybe I'm not going to be able to do all of them. But let's go and talk about let's talk about domain. So the domain in this case, and again, it also helps if like you know what the graph looks like. So what I'd recommend doing is actually, let's go through this again. Let me do a different explanation because now we're doing the domain and range. So in this example, what I'd do is I'd just recommend knowing what the graph looks like. So in this graph, that's the parent graph, right? Or the parent graph is just a line, right? Slope is, or y-intercept is -5, slope is 2, 1. So the domain here is all real numbers. The range is all real numbers. For B, hopefully you recognize this is a quadratic graph, right? And this graph is being shifted 1 unit to the right and then 3 units up. So 1 unit to the right, 1, 2, 3. There you go. So again, the domain is the graph is going to keep on expanding from left to right to -infinity to infinity. So why did I write that like that? So my domain here is going to be let's do it like that. All real numbers. And my range is not all real numbers because the graph only goes down as low as 3. So we're going to say 3 to infinity. That looks really bad, so let me redo that. Okay, and let's do one more. I guess I'll just do all of them. Why not? C. So how do I graph this? Well, this one has a horizontal asymptote at 0 and a vertical asymptote at -3. So again, this is the reciprocal graph being shifted over 3 units to the left. 1, 2, 3. So if you know what the parent graphs are for this graph, if you know what the parent graphs are and you know the transformations, then you can go and quickly graph these. Now here, the domain is going to be all real numbers except for -3. So we could say negative infinity to -3 union -3 to infinity. And then the range is going to be all real numbers except for 0. So that'd be negative infinity to 0 union 0 to infinity. All right, so for the last two, I'm not going to do them, but I will show you what the graphs look like. So for D, that is going to be the square root function shifted 1 unit to the right and 3 units up. So that's going to look something like this. So hopefully you can graph that. And then this is going to be the equation of a circle with a radius of 6. So okay, and hopefully you recognize that it is not a function. All right, but hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, let's get to another question. I just got past my math score. Perfect. Thank you for teaching us. Well, you're very welcome. Edward, please simplify how to do this. Okay. All right. So in this example, we have the square root of 36 nmo to the 4th. So main thing I want you to understand is the nth root of something raised to the nth power equals x, right? Or x, the nth power raised to x to the nth power thing. So therefore, if I have the square root of x squared, that equals an x, right? Now, a lot of times we don't write the square in front, so that's fine. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down everything that I can rewrite to the second power. Okay, and everything I can't rewrite to the second power, I'm going to put in another radical. Oh, well, let me break this up. Hold on. If I had a times b, that can be rewritten. This is another rule of radicals. This can be rewritten as the square root of a times the square root of b. So it's important to recognize that. Okay. All right. So what that means then is I can rewrite this as a square root of 36 times a square root of m squared times a square root of o squared times a square root of n. Now, the other reason I got from here is just remember the rules of radicals. If I have o, or let's just say x to the a raised to the b, that's equal x to the a times b, right? So that's what I did there. Instead of writing o to the 4th, I wrote this as o squared because 2 times 2 is 4. Now, the reason why I did that is because everything that's raised to the second power, right? These are all squared. Actually, let me just rewrite it like this. Let me do one more for you. So this can be written as o to the 4th. Okay, so now I can rewrite everything and actually let's rewrite this without the squareds. So I can rewrite it this. So this would be m squared times a square root of o squared times the square root of n. Now let's just take the square root of everything we've taken the square root of, right? Using this idea. So the square root of 6 squared is going to be 6. Square root of m squared is going to be an m. Square root of o squared is just going to be an o. And we can't take the square root of n. So that's going to be that. So we have a 6mo times the square root of n. And there you go. Well, thank you, Alexander. I really appreciate that. Awesome. Get it. All right, let's do the next one. Shmansky 10 derivatives. I'm not going to cover derivatives. I'm not going to open it up. Sorry. I got a lot of questions. And unless you have like a really easy one, which maybe I will cover, but I don't know. And hey, Bennu, how are you? Yeah, not familiar. I'd have to go back and review. Spend some time on that. Sorry. Alan, I don't currently have a picture of the specific problem, but I do do the work on. But I'm struggling on simplifying trig expressions. I have watched many of your videos about, but I'm a slow one and I can't quite understand. The fractions always get me. If you can help me with one, I would greatly appreciate it. Any of them are okay. I just want understanding. So you do have a screenshot. Well, let's do this problem. I mean, it's tough. Trig identities are tough because there's just so many different ways you can go about the problems. There's not always a right way to do it. So let me just kind of go through a couple things that I see that I try. So let's try this one. I've not, like a lot of the problems that I'm seeing you do, I am not familiar with. So, you know, there might be some processes and stuff that I'm not used to from there, but let's go and see what happens here. Now, the other thing I want to get in with this, there you go. Okay. Let me see what your directions were. Doesn't have directions, just says problems. Okay, so typically what we want to do when we're simplifying trig expressions is to reduce them down to a single trigonometric function or number, okay? So in this example, what I recognize here is this is cosine squared. Because, again, you got to know your identities here. So one of the most famous identities, right, is cosine squared of x plus sine squared of x equals 1, right? So if I subtract a sine squared of x on both sides, and I give myself enough room so you guys can see that, then what I'll have here is a cosine squared of x is equal to a 1 minus a sine squared of x. And voila, what do we have here, right? So therefore, I can rewrite this as a cosine squared of x all over 1 plus a sine of x. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I'm just going to go ahead and try it. So then in this case, now I could do is multiply by the conjugate. So a lot of times when we have like a binomial denominator, one thing we can do is just multiply by the conjugate. And what that will do is that will help us get rid of terms, maybe. So if I multiply by, what am I doing? If I multiply by 1 over sine of x, or 1 minus sine of x, I'm sorry, what that does, that creates the difference of two squares in the denominator, which is obviously going to be a 1 minus sine squared of x, which again, we already know is a cosine of x. But let's just leave that on here. So cosine of x, that's times 1 minus a sine of x all over 1 minus a sine squared of x. All right, cool. So that goes into a cosine. And those will divide out. And then we're left with a 1 minus a sine of x. And I'd probably say that's probably going to be as more simplified as you could possibly get. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe we can try simplifying this, I guess, one more time. I mean, I don't know. We could rewrite this, multiply this as a sine of x over a sine of x minus a sine of x over 1, and then multiply by a sine of x over sine of x, right? So then we're left with a, I don't know, sine of x minus sine squared of x. I don't think that's going to be helping me do anything here, right? I mean, nothing really is going on from there. So yeah, I would just stick with that. And I'd say that'd be my simplified version from there. So it doesn't simplify to a number, but you also didn't give me direction, so I don't know what else we were looking for on that. All right. Let's get into next question. And guys, just remember at 10 o'clock, we'll be doing the giveaway. For the giveaway, go to last week's live stream and go ahead and type in math help in the chat. So last week's live stream, not on this one. Emily says solving. Okay, Emily. Ooh. first and goal, Cincinnati 8. Oh, wow. It's a good game. All right. All right, Christy. Well, thank you so much for supporting me. And yeah, no worries. Looks like it's first and goal. Man, looks like it's a really good game. Be interesting to see how this is going to play out. Okay. Okay, so 10 base. Okay, yeah. So all right, so how to solve these. Interesting here. Okay, so in this example, what I would do is I would just write an X here. Okay, so so what this is basically saying is, let's forget about this one for a second, is this is saying a 3/4 raised to what number is going to equal to a 64 over a 27. Now, the cool thing I recognize here is 3 does not, like 3 raised to any number does not equal 64, right? And 4 does not raise to any number equals 27. However, a couple things you want to know. Like if I had x to the, let's do this. If I had a over b raised to the negative m, that is equal to a b over a raised to the positive m. So what happens is if I can reciprocate these, at all, then actually let's do it this way. Let me put it this way. If I have a over b to the m, and then this would be a over b to the negative m. So you can reciprocate them. And that's exactly what I know. I know x has to be negative here, okay? So now I just need to say, well, 3 raised to what number equals 27? And that's 3. And is 4 raised to the third power give you 64? Yes. So I can say x is going to equal to a negative 3. First and goal. Oh, wow, they got a first down. That's cool. All right, next one is 10 log. Just let you know. Well, which one? Is it a previous problem on the live stream or on a video? If it's on a video, then just please comment on the video. If it's on here, then let me know. Yes. So this one just kind of goes, I think is the easiest way just to make sure you know your rules of logarithm. There's a couple different ways we could like spend time like explaining it. Come on. 10 log. Now again, if there's no base there, this is technically base 10 to the 9th. So if you know your rules of logarithms, b raised to log base b of x is just equal to an x. So there's a lot of different ways we can just go ahead and explain this and show you how this works. But the easiest way for me to explain this one is just going to be, the answer is 9. Just to kind of get things quickly because I do have other questions I got to go to. But I just recommend knowing those for you as well. This live stream. Okay, what do I do with my radicals? Tell me. This one? Oh, that's supposed to be O squared. I had it. I think I said I just forgot to write it. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Maybe. I don't know. You didn't say. There you go. Yeah. I showed all the work. I just didn't write the final answer. Thank you. All right, let's get to the next one. Sonia, I can't seem to eliminate the right variable first. I always get some decimals over a weird answer. How do I know which variable to eliminate first? It doesn't matter which variable you should eliminate first. I don't even know what you're talking about yet, but I'll look at it. Yeah, on this one. I mean, it's kind of hard to, because at this point, you'd probably just say just use Gaussian elimination from on there, but it shouldn't matter which variable you are eliminating first for on there. And it's been a while since I did these, so I just have to look at it. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I would probably just, you know, I mean, obviously you could just use Gaussian elimination and start with there and probably go from there. But in my opinion, I would, you know, I would just probably start with the X, you know, from on there or the Z. Like I probably wouldn't deal with the Y. So I'd probably start with the X or Z, but I don't think you can start with any variable. It shouldn't really matter. But yeah, if it feels like it's getting too difficult or anything like that, then maybe go a different route for sure. All right, Liz, it's a practice problem with the answer, but that's a long problem for me to go through on doing all of that. But yeah, basically what you want to do, I would recommend, is just multiplying this by 4. Right? And then adding these two equations up. That's going to eliminate your X. And then you could eliminate the Y's and the Z's. And then you could, you know, once you figure out the them, then plug them in, then you can do the other two equations as well. It's a practice problem with the answer, but I don't understand how to get it, and I need help without getting a calculator. I understand it should be negative. How do we get this answer without a calculator? Let me write this. So 10 raised to what number is equal to a 1/4? I'd have to look back on that. Sorry. Oh, wow. The Rams scored. Now it's the big one. Big one to see what Cincinnati's going to do. All right. Yeah, I'd have to look back over that one. Sorry. All right, guys, only 7 more minutes to live stream, so I'll try to get to maybe a couple more on done. That one's not a question. Have a good night, Gail. Thank you. Yes, and that's right. And you can definitely get, oh, crap. Wait a minute. Christy, I might have an issue with your tutoring. I'll have to let you know. Oh, yeah. I have actually 3 things that are going on that day. Crap, that might be an issue. I didn't even think about that. I had 2 other things that are going on. But thank you for that. I will reach out to you on Discord. Yes, I am. All right, having trouble with volume and surface area of compositional figures in general. I don't know, if you submit a question, it's a lot easier, guys, when you submit your question, so I can kind of see an idea. I don't really like explaining things just like abstractly without really understanding what you guys need help on. How good at math do you need to be to major computer science and later? I don't know. The good at math is a very vague response. So I would say you need to know your math. So you need to be good at math. But I don't know what the good range is. Daniel, I don't understand how to plot each function and find the vertical horizontal asymptotes. Okay, oh, perfect. Perfect. Because I just realized I have 3 appointments at that 1 o'clock time, and I was like, oh crap, that's not going to work. But either way, we'll get it connected. Sketch a fine of the separate number planes. I need more time to spend looking at that. Sorry about that. I just need time to like review it a little bit more. I don't have time from here. Are you able to do a triple logarithm? I would have to go back and review that. Sorry, that's not something thing. Solve equation by finding the square roots. Not sure how to solve an A term. Let's take a look. Let me look at a question on here. What are you referring to? What is your question? Solving equations by finding the square roots. Oh, okay, well, let's do this problem. And then I think once we do this problem, then will be time for the giveaway. All right, so Thank you, Abdullah. I was hoping because I have no idea. I'm not in computer science, but I really agree to appreciate proficient in discrete mathematics and linear algebra as well as calc. Yeah. So that's a great path. And so to get to that path, I would say you'd have to be good at math for sure. Like how good, I mean, like, again, that's a very vague response, right? But yes, you're going to have to know your math. All right. Last question I have is 9x squared minus a 12x plus 4 equals -3. Okay. Well, hi, study 1E. So first thing you're always going to do in this occasion, guys, is going to add a 3 to both sides because you want your quadratic equation to be equal to 0. So I have a 9x squared minus a 12x plus 7 equals 0. Now we have a quadratic, and now what we're going to want to do is, they did get the extra. No, okay. So now what we're going to want to do is go ahead and factor this down, right? And so we know that all quadratics can be broken down into a product of two binomials. All right, so we could do 9 and 1. But let's try the 3 and 3, right? So 3x and 3x, that's going to be 9x squared. And then the 7, that's going to be a 21 and 1. I don't think that's going to work. So let's try the 9x and the x. So 9 times 7, obviously that's not going to work. Now these both need to be negative. So that means this would have to be a -7. And this would have to be a +1. And again, 7 plus 9 is 16. That's not equal to 12. So, so I'm not seeing this as factorable unless I'm missing something. So therefore, you need to use the quadratic formula. So quadratic formula, x equals plus or minus the square root. I'm sorry, what am I doing? X equals the opposite of b, 12, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is a -12 squared, minus a 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. And sorry, I'm still... So then you just need to go ahead and simplify from here. Now, I don't know. Oh no, where'd my calculator go? Oh, I put it in the fridge. I'm not going back. So hopefully you just go and simplify this and go ahead and solve. And guess what, guys? It is 10 o'clock, so it is time to do a giveaway. So let's go into last week's live stream. And then, yeah, just go ahead and solve from there, and you guys can get it. And why do I? Oh, yeah, because I didn't have time to get into there. So let's go into last week's live stream. And again, all you guys need to type in is #mathhelp. In last week's live stream, and I will be able to, I'll do a giveaway for you guys. And we'll give away 30 minutes of free tutoring. So if you're interested in free tutoring, then go ahead and type in #mathhelp into that. And I'll help you guys out. So let's do live. All right, so how to memorize a formula was the name of it. Thank you so much, Christy, because I'm trying to do too many things and I got in here late, so I didn't get my live stream link done. So greatly appreciate you helping me out. So guys, yeah, go to that link right there and type that in, and type in math help if you are interested in getting a free tutoring time with me. If you're not, then that's totally cool too. And then I need to go into my bookmark. And I will exit the full screen. Bring this up to you guys. Make sure you guys can see. All right, so let's go into last week's live stream. Thank you so much, Christy. It's also in the chat. Oh, wait, no, not the wrong one. Well, here's the right one. Well, at least the one I'm using. So use that one and go ahead and type in #mathhelp if you are interested in. Oh, wow, the Rams won the Super Bowl. Congratulations. What happened? What did they do? Awesome, man. I totally thought the Bengals were going to win, but I guess Rams on the side. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So, YouTube comment picker, fetch, and it goes. We're going to do the not keyword filter. Yep. And the keyword is going to be #mathhelp. Okay, so make sure you type in hashtag math help into that last one. On your mark, get set. You guys ready? You guys ready? Give you a second. Okay. And duplicates are not allowed. Haha. Only 4 comments. Only 4 people. This is awesome. So if you only are the 4 people, then you got a pretty good chance of winning. Pretty good chance. And ladies and gentlemen, I have Daniel. You are the winner. Congratulations. Daniel, all you need to simply do is go ahead and reach out to me either on Discord or on Instagram, and I will give you the link to go ahead and set up a time with me. So congratulations, Daniel. To the rest of you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. And I think we had a pretty successful live stream, even for a lot of people thinking that the Super Bowl was going to take over everything. So thank you again for stopping in and saying hi. I hope you guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, guys. Cheers.